Hi, everyone, and welcome to Module 7. This week we'll be talking about Docker. Um, Docker is a relatively, relative is a term, but it's relatively new into the area of virtualization. Um, it's probably, you could argue that it's the next iteration beyond Vagrant, whereas Vagrant is strictly a uh, um, very purposed into setting up a dev environment for testing. Docker can do twofold, and Docker can serve as a testing environment locally and doing basic functions like installing Apache and SQL and testing websites or testing the software. Docker can also it acts as a medium to deploy your software to another environment. So one of the idioms in software development is, well, it works on my machine. Uh, it it's almost cliche to say it anymore, but that's the truth. Some developers can have that mindset where, well, I don't understand why it's not working in your environment. It's working on a machine, so I don't know how to help you, kind of thing. So Docker was the solution that filled that niche. So the concept is that you create a virtual machine, and it's smaller even than Vagrant. Like I was talking in the last module about Vagrant, consuming anywhere from 100 to 300 megs in size. A Docker can be as small as 5 to 20 megabytes and spin up an environment where you need to run your software. So the startup time is really fast on them, and they can spin up and spin down as they're called upon and needed. So Docker gets into a much larger concept where you're thinking about load on a website. Think about a presidential election and someone launches their campaign. There is software in this world that looks at the load that the website's hitting, and if it needs to deploy more servers to handle the load and requests that are coming to, like, a politician's website, well, they can spin up other Dockers and machines to handle that load so the site doesn't crash. That's the larger concept with Docker. This course, we're talking about just the basics of Docker. We're saying, how do you set up a Docker? How do you set up a container? How do you create your Docker files? How do you, have two Dockers talk to each other? How do you keep your data stationary and static, but then also, spin up the Docker file that, sends that data or serves that data to a website kind of concept. So, for deploying software, and it's great for setting up deployment environments, and we'll work through both of those this week. If you have any questions, just reach out to me.